Santayana says that those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it.
Where is he? Where's Dad?
Honey,
He also said a fanatic is someone who redoubles his efforts while losing sight of his goal.
Batman, not like this. Not in front of his family.
The sooner he talks, the sooner we leave.
What about people, Bruce? Dick, Barbara, Tim, Selina? They all loved you, but eventually every single one of them left you. Ever wonder why?
Not for an instant. They quit because when it came down to it, they didn't have the heart for the mission. Are you about to quit too?
We gave our best, but in the end, that wasn't good enough for the old man.
I may have pretended otherwise, but I looked up to you. Worshipped you.
What you wanted from me, I couldn't give to anyone.
Tell me something I don't know. I'm poisoned, Dana. Cursed.
You're silly, McGinnis.
This city would fall apart without you.
Maybe, maybe not. When you look too long into the abyss looks back through you. Maybe it's time for Batman to return to the night that spawned him, before anyone else gets hurt.
Something changing your mind.
You have to go after him!
He didn't do it. It's garbage, Mr. Reeves. The Batman does not kill. Period.
Who is Commissioner Gordon to Batman? On a practical level, he's the institutional reason why Batman's operations can even function in Gotham, but on a deeper personal level, he's one of the reasons why Batman can emotionally still do what he does. And the episode which explores this is... I Am the Night opens with Batman sulking. He's tired. Alfred says Bruce hasn't eaten or slept, but this is fine for him. As he says,
A weary body can be dealt with, but a weary spirit, that's something else.
Batman hasn't had a Snickers yet, so he's not really himself. He doubts his mission despite Alfred's support, but what's killing Batman ultimately is... time. The real story begins with a kid begging for change, but in reality it's actually a trick because he owes some bad people money. This anonymous kid represents everything wrong with Batman's mission. The poverty, the cycles of crime that pulls the youth into an inescapable order of self-destruction. All Batman has become now in this environment is a commodity, something to be purchased and to be ignored.
When all is said and done, how much good have I accomplished? They sell t-shirts of me. I've become a cliche. More good for the tourist trade than the streets.
As a result, as Batman approaches Leslie in Crime Alley disheartened, he ponders how every time he comes, this might be the last. He might just put the past behind him and move on, and presumably retire with Catwoman in Italy.
I should put the past behind me. Try to lead a normal life.
But there's actually two philosophical viewpoints presented here. Either he's losing sight of his goals as he's fanatically following his mission despite his clear shortcomings, or that giving up on the past means history will eventually repeat itself again. In hindsight, the latter is actually what ended up happening in the future. His absence led to the death of Terry's father, so then history did repeat itself with a new Batman. Regardless, Bruce's doubts snowballs from his roses being crushed as he saves the kid and being too late to help Gordon and the GCPD's operation against Jazzman, where they decide to go in without him.
What are we waiting for? Batman. He got us the dirt on the Jazzman. Said he'd be here when the hammer went down.
Batman's mission may feel hopelessly alone and futile, but it's his commitments with his community who treasures his involvements that keeps him afloat. They're the invisible crowd that he hasn't taken account of yet.
Won a few battles, but the war goes on, Alfred. On and on.
So Batman shows up and does a thing with his thing, but after the fight, Jim lies face down. He approaches the comatose Gordon in hospital and blames himself for not being there early, and where Barbara defends Batman, Bullock affirms his doubts and screams about getting to a fistfight in order to resolve their sexual tension. You see, in Batman the Animated Series, Gordon officiates Batman on two levels, with Gotham's politics.
I'm sorry, Councilman, but you can't blame Batman for what happened to Chucky Saw.
But he also emotionally officiates Bruce, as he explains to Dick.
He's a friend. More than a friend. Jim Gordon's the same age my father would have been if he hadn't.
Jim gives continuity to Batman's trauma, because without Gordon there like a father, Bruce wouldn't be able to make meaning and keep the little boy inside himself alive. To allow Bruce to continue his life with his father in some sort of way, because being Batman, at its core for Bruce, has been about staying true to the promise of a child. However, this means Jim's injury is also forcing Bruce to relive the death of his parents and lament to Dick that it's only a matter of time to he himself die from his foes.
Sooner or later, I'll go down.
Which a few episodes later actually said the f***ing squid actually offs Batman. And more importantly for him, more people around him will pay for his mistakes.
How long before I let someone else I care about down?
So Bruce gives up, finally. I Am the Night in hindsight after Old Wounds and Batman Beyond takes an even more tragic value because everything in this episode exists in extreme contrast with his future self. Batman is a weird, cold, unemotional alien man in the New Adventures, and to a lesser extent, Justice League. He rarely smiles, and whatever happens, he always puts his mission before everyone else.
I understand.
No way was I gonna leave you alone in the Watchtower on Christmas Eve. Besides, Batman practically begged for monitor duty.
Leaving those around him alienated and lonely. At age 100, he has no regrets over how everyone left him, because to him, they couldn't stomach the true commitment of the mission. But right now, he's the only one who can't stomach it, and requires the community around him to uplift him. The great tragedy of all this was that it was never a sacrifice in hindsight. Batman is a mosaic of the people around him. They're the medicine for his wounds of doubt, but they're also the boat that took him to shore, so when doubt left his mind, he felt like he didn't need them anymore. But that's not true, and it was never even an ultimatum between his mission and those that loved him, because they're all on the same page.
You know he'll find a way to get to Gordon. Okay, then I'm going after him.
He just simply made it into an ultimatum as he got more obsessed, as he became more neglectful, as what he predicted from before, and what Terry would eventually have to confront on his own when he became Batman too.
You want to have a little better life than the old man's? Take care of the people who love you. Or don't. It's your choice.
But right now, decades and decades before, Barbara feels impotent. Dick shares it, but reaffirms the need for her to be by her father's side.
I know how you feel, more than you might think. But your place is here.
This is all back in season 1, by the way, so there's loads of irony here. First, it's very clear foreshadowing for Batgirl, but also why her involvement will be one of the reasons why Dick will eventually feel very alienated by Bruce.
But it was your place to put her in danger.
It wasn't like that. I volunteered.
Secondly, it's also very ironic here that Dick is the one here that believes Bruce needs to get up and commit to the mission again, as the Jazzed Man is still at large. But as we know, Batman's unrelenting commitment in the big picture storytelling, that'll be the very thing that will divide them. It's the Pandora's box here that Dick helped open.
You taught me everything I know about crime fighting, Bruce, but the most important lesson was to never give up. You don't know him like I do. He manipulates, pulls strings, anything to get what he wants.
One of the important pushes that transitions the wide-eyed young Bruce, who's still unsure about his life, to the man who's at the point of no return. Dick suits up, but Bruce intervenes. Jazzman is about to pop Jim, but then Batman appears and there's a whole fight, and as he's about to shoot Barbara and Jim, Batman stops it with his batarang as Harvey shows up and apprehends Jazzman.
Went down okay?
Yes. Get some rest now.
Jim wakes up and affirms the need to carry on the good fight. In his mind, if he was younger, he would have liked to have been someone like Batman.
Maybe if I'd been younger, could have been like you. Always wanted to be a hero.
You are a hero, Jim.
And as Hobo Kid is about to leave town to go home, Batman confronts him. He reveals if it wasn't for Batman for his intervention, he never would have finally listened. So he thanks him. Batman, on top of a roof, smiles. He has made a difference, and he always will. There's a lot of beautiful episodes in Batman the Animated Series, but I find the most eloquent ones are the most restrained ones, where the drama is entirely derived from diving deep into the uncomfortable corners of their mind, as character relationships are properly pushed into the fire. And in this quiet little episode without the Joker or anything big, it's one about Batman's heart, his doubt, in his community. Batman can only survive because of the people around him. Even in the future when everyone's left and he almost dies alone, it takes the heart of a young boy to spur him back into action. But back at the source of his journey, it's also Jim Gordon that keeps Batman going. Because in this costume and badge paradox of a relationship is a dream of a child looking to spend time with a father, and a father looking to spend time with the dreams of his youth. As Batman looks for a father in Jim, those around look at him with the same need. And being Batman is Bruce's method of providing that need to an extent. But also his big problem in the DCAU is not knowing this, and not seeing that loving his friends is really the only way to keep carrying on. So yeah, that was the Batman is Not Alone video. I have no idea what I'm doing. I literally just wrote this, just sitting, just came out of my head. Yeah, special thanks to everyone on Patreon. You guys rule. My council tax went up.